Yesterday we have gone through the two functions, inverse trigonometrical function. First was that was sine inverse sine function, and now and further we have also gone through the inverse cosine function. Today on dated 14th of the April, we'll go with the inverse tangent function. Inverse tangent function. Y is equal to, that is y is equal to f of inverse x is equal to tan inverse x if x is equal to tan of y, and in that case y ranging from, this is open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So this restriction must be away in this case. As earlier I have told you regarding the sine function and cosine function, you must stick on the boundary, and for the sine function you should stick in the closed interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, whereas the cosine function you have to stick in the 0 to pi. Now for the inverse tangent function you have to restrict between the open interval, that means the boundary is minus pi by 2 and pi by 2 is not included. Now how graphically we can understood it? In the earlier classes we have gone through the graph of the tangent function like this and like this. We have gone like this. This is 0, this is pi, something like that. But for this is y is equal to 10x. But for the inverse, convertibility is like that. Convertibility is like that. The function is like this one, and this is the convertibility. It will go to maximum of the pi by 2. That should be in the dotted line, pi by 2, and minimum it should be in the minus pi by 2. So ranking like that, the graph will be flattened like this, and the range will have that like that. Now there are three more of inverse function, that are cosine function, and that are cotec cotangent functions, and the cotangent function, and the other is cotangent function, and other is the second function, as well as there is the cosecant function. For all that I am putting a table and the domain and range. So here it is. I am just putting a functions, name of the function, function x, y is equal to sine inverse x. Domain, for the domain is like this and range is like this. You have to understood this one, domain, and domain the like this is minus 1 to x is 1, whereas the range lying between minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and the other is, this is y is equal to cos inverse x. For that domain is again minus 1 to 1, range is 0 to pi. As earlier we have gone through, today we have gone through the tangent function, and the tangent ranging from, where the domain is minus infinity to plus infinity, whereas the range is for this is minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 in an open interval. And then after that, that is a cot function, cot inverse x, and this ranks from where to where? Again it will rank from, the domain is minus infinity to plus infinity. A range will be 0 to, this is 0 to y open interval pi, and further we'll go with the y is equal to second function, and for that sec inverse x, this is the range is proceeding from minus infinity, and domain is minus infinity to minus 1, and other is 1 to uh, 1 to infinity, and the range for this case is 0 y to pi by 2. Pi by 2 is not included, and pi by 2 to pi by 2 to pi, and the same way we can, pi is included in that case, whereas the cosec function y is equal to cosec inverse x, and this is ranging from range, or the range is, this is 1 to, this is x and infinity, domain is 0 not included y, and pi by 2 is included, whereas minus pi by 2 to y and 0 is not included. So this is the range for that, this is the domain, and this is for the range of the cosec inverse function. Now we should always stick in this judiction, whatever judiction I have written down, just match it from your book, and there is a table in every book, you can match it this range, and we should accordingly work for that. Now I am putting few questions related to that. See how we have to observe the range. Suppose I am putting example, under the example is this is cos inverse cos 7 pi by 6. Now you have to evaluate this. How we can evaluate it? As the cos inverse function lying between 0 to pi by pi. So this is beyond the boundary. So it should be not 7 pi by 6. Now how we'll put inside the house? Because we should work on the inside the house. If we will not work inside the house, things will be beyond our limit, and that will be wrong. So how we'll do? What we'll do for the cos inverse x can be written as cos pi plus pi by 6. That is, we can write like this, pi by 6. This is, you can write in the 2 pi, in fact, 2 pi plus pi by 6. And either you can write in the 2 pi, in fact, 12, 5 pi by 6. 2 pi minus 5 pi by 6. So then minus 5 pi by 6. 2 pi minus pi. 2 pi minus 5 pi by 6. That is somehow the same. This is cos inverse cos 7 pi by 6. It should be not equal to 7 pi by 6, since 7 pi by 6 does not belongs to 0 to does not belongs to 0 to pi. Now further we write like this. This is like this and like this, and now 5 pi by 6, since 5 pi by 6 belongs to 0 to pi. So this is the right answer. I am putting another example for that. The second is evaluate. This is cos inverse cos of 13 pi by 6. So how we can put it? 13 pi by 6 we cannot write down because that is exceeding from the 0 to pi range. Now how we'll put it? Since 13 pi by 6 does not belongs to 0 to pi, so how we'll do that? This is cos inverse of cos 2 pi plus pi by 6, we can write like this, and that is somehow the same. Cos inverse, this is cos pi by 6 because in the first quadrant, and this is pi by 6, since pi by 6 belongs to 0 to pi. So we should always, whenever we are working, we will work for that. We should always work in the range of the particular function. Suppose I am putting the third example, like evaluate tan inverse. This is 10 3 pi by 4. This is how we can go for 3 pi by 4. It is not equal to 3 pi by 4 since 3 pi by 4 does not belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 in open interval. How will do that? What we'll do for first? Tan inverse, we can write down tan inverse 10 pi minus pi by 4. This is the second quadrant for the 10, but in this case tan inverse it will be minus of 10 pi by 4. But for the cancellation of the inverse function, minus should be in the angle, so we can write like this. This is the minus pi by 4, and now it is minus pi by 4 since minus pi by 4 belongs to open interval minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So in this way we can work for. Now we can go for the fourth example, and that is evaluate. This is important for the board examination, that question. This is the cos inverse cos 2 pi by 3 and plus sine inverse sine 2 pi by 3. For the cos function, this is under the boundary, so we can write down the 2 pi by 3. But the sine inverse, this can be written as sine pi minus pi by 3, because this is not in on the boundary, so I put an L in that 2 pi by 3. I am considering both the boundaries, sine inverse. This is sine pi by 3, because in second quadrant sine is positive. 2 pi by 3 plus pi by 3, that is 2 pi plus pi upon 3, and this is 3 pi by 3, and that is pi. So answer is the pi. I have considered the cos inverse range, cos inverse x range from 0 to pi, and the sine inverse x range from minus pi by 2 to pi by 2, and we have worked for that in the both the boundaries. We have taken the consideration and we work for that. So wherever we will go for, we should in all kind of, either in the case of tan, either in the case of the sine, either in the case of cosine, and every time we should stick the in that table and we can go for. So there are few questions related to that, and related to the principal value is also there. Suppose I'm writing down one more example, I'm putting for the principal values for that, and that is also, suppose you are having principal, suppose somebody is asking you what is the principal value of cot inverse of root 3, something like that. So first of all, let y is equal to cot inverse, this is root 3, and how we'll put it, cot, that is cot y is equal to root 3, and for root 3 it is cot, this is cot pi by 6, cot pi by 6 is there, so y is equal to pi by 6. Since pi by 6 in this case also ranging from, belongs from 0 to in a open interval 0 to pi, so we have restricted like that. So whenever and wherever we'll go with the principal value, in that case also we should restrict on the boundary mentioned in the earlier table. So always restrict like that. So time is not enough for a particular day to send too much item for the inverse function. You just go through the principal values and range related questions. This is the type 1 questions, and after doing so, apart from this, I am also attaching the CBSE level and HOTS question with the matrices stage 1. So you must go through that, answer that questions. Previous day I have sent you a few questions related to the IIT mains level of the matrices stage 1, and you should must go through that and determine. And now again I am sending few more questions with the CBSE level and as well as the HOTS questions for the CBSE board examination. You must go through that. Apart from, you must carry on the process related to the inverse trigonometrical function. In that, you should stick on the only one thing for today, and that is the domain and range related questions, and go through from your book and keep collect all the problems, and when the regular classes will go on, definitely will answer that. And more or less it is time to initiate yourself, accelerate yourself, and just start. This is the opportunity where you can establish yourself. Of course, country is moving in the reverse direction, but it is our, as a disciplined citizen of India, we should put our work, and we should go for the betterment of ourselves as well as betterment for the country. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for today.